Stephen Miller has long been one of the most controversial figures in Donald Trump's administration, which is saying a lot, given how many names could make that list. His arguments and public appearances often spark strong reactions, and tonight was no different. In a heated exchange, Gavin Newsom confronted and ultimately shut down Miller during a live debate, leaving him visibly frustrated. What made the moment even more striking was not just the dismantling of his talking points, but also the sharp response that caught Miller completely off guard. Before I play the clip of that fiery exchange, I want to quickly ask you to give this video a like. And if you're new here and enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe. It really helps support the channel. Now, before we dive into Stephen Miller's heated reaction, let's first take a look at a town hall moment from earlier this evening, where a Republican congressman faced similar pushback for repeating the same talking points. Let's start with that clip right here.
Great-great-grandfather helped open this university. I am pissed, and I'm pissed at you because I have emailed you, because it's easier for me than to try to talk on the phone without profanity. I would appreciate you taking your father's U.S. Constitution book, read it, study it, make your own lines underneath it, and get Trump out of office. The man is a dictator. He knows nothing about what he talks about. I listened to him for about a half hour today, and I got sick at all the lies he brought up. Now, I'm about ready to lose my farm. Do you know why? I'm sure you don't know why.
Lose your what, sir?
Farm.
Farm?
Yeah.
Why is that, sir?
Because Missouri does not have wills. They have trust. They have legal zigzags. And a trust, most people don't know anything about. So I'm dealing with a state that's a crooked state, doesn't care about what farmers happen. The only reason why we have farmers today is because the federal government funds them. How much money of our tax money goes to farmers? Farmers work very hard, but they're funded by the federal government, not by selling groceries. That's what Foster Farms and all of those characters, that's where they get their money. The price of steaks, $20 a pound, because of big business. You want to straighten out the budget? Start taxing corporations and the wealthy, like we've been telling you. Do you think we're idiots? Do you think we don't pay taxes? Do you think that we don't have to make budgets? You talk about half-truths when I listen to you. You know nothing about taking care of children because you've always had a really good-paying job. You know nothing about what a working-class citizen does. Come down here. Come down here and start trying to pay your medical insurance. Come down here and walk into Costco to try to feed your family, to feed your kid that's moved out, to feed your great-grandchildren. I had a very good job in California, and I'm able to feed my family, and it goes all the way to great-grandchildren. You're not helping me. Believe me, you're not helping me. You need to take your head out of Trump's ass and start doing your representation of us.
That right there is what real patriotism looks like. And it's something I've been fortunate to witness up close over the past couple of weeks. I've been traveling across the country with several Democratic leaders, recently in Omaha, Nebraska, and Phoenix, Arizona. And I've seen people coming out in force for town halls, ready to stand up, push back, and engage directly in their communities. This type of civic action is more important now than ever, especially at a time when Donald Trump and Stephen Miller are accused of trying to silence dissent and intimidate opposition voices. Their tactics are designed to discourage participation, but the truth is, people are refusing to back down. That's why it's so critical not only to fight back, but also to call out and challenge their rhetoric whenever possible. And after Stephen Miller's heated appearance on live TV, Gavin Newsom did exactly that, meeting his arguments head on and leaving Miller visibly rattled.
That was Washington, D.C. Now we're 2 weeks homicide free, the safest the city has ever been in its entire history. And the Democrats, instead of jumping up and down and saying, thank you, President Trump, thank you for saving our lives, thank you for saving our cities, thank you for scrubbing away all the graffiti, the trash, the homeless encampments, the druggies. Instead of cleaning up the city, instead of thanking him for that, they're saying, President Trump, how dare you save our lives? How dare you save our children? How dare you save our city? The Democrat Party, Sean, that exists today, it disgusts me. I do not recognize that party, Sean.
Governor Newsom's press account has been seriously trolling Stephen Miller, comparing him here to Voldemort, writing here that he is a fascist cuck, referring to the scandal around his wife, leaving him to go work for Elon Musk instead of the White House. And of course, we saw Governor today respond to Stephen Miller in the White House, writing that he's going to bring it to Donald Trump even though he is trying to bring a lawsuit against his redistricting plan. Newsom also backed up his attack on Stephen Miller, which is just so hilarious in this clip right here.
I support independent redistricting. I think it should be done at a national level. At the same time, I also am mindful next year is the 250th anniversary of the founding of this great country. And I'm very fearful about what's going on in this country. When Donald Trump calls in to the Texas legislature along the lines of the phone calls he made saying, find me some votes in Georgia, and says, find me five more seats in Texas, they're playing by a different set of rules. They can't win by the traditional game, so they want to change the game. We can act holier than thou. We could sit on the sidelines, talk about the way the world should be, or we can recognize the existential nature that is this moment. And so it took me a moment to reconcile my own feelings. Very proud of the work Governor Schwarzenegger and others did on that. It's a national model. Right now, there may not be a nation to model. And so my response to that, and I want to finish because it's the question you're asking, has been to explore what we can do about it. And that's exactly what I've tasked my team. And there are two alternatives if you're interested. You can call a special session and we can move forward. And we're exploring that. And we've had real conversations about that. There are also a number of legal experts that have come to us exploring an alternative to that.
Nobody right now is handling political mockery and satire quite like Governor Newsom. Credit where it's due. His team, Brandon, Izzy, and the rest have been absolutely on point. And honestly, it's hard not to feel a little satisfaction seeing Stephen Miller, of all people, repeatedly stumble in these exchanges. The frustration, the complaints, the over-the-top reactions, they just keep coming. And yes, we even saw more fiery outbursts from Miller after that moment. I know it's not easy to sit through, but trust me, it's worth watching until the very end because I have something important to say once we get through it.
You can't have happiness without security first. Look, if your streets are more violent, as these Democrat cities are, more violent than Baghdad, more violent than communities in Ethiopia and places that many Americans would never even dream of visiting, some of the most dangerous places on planet Earth. More dangerous than Mexico City. Democrat cities are more dangerous than Mexico City, which is run by criminal cartels. How can you pursue happiness, Sean? And to the point about the federal government and the supremacy clause, the president has the utmost authority here because he oversees federal law enforcement, which is supreme to state and local law enforcement. And all of these organized street gangs that are terrorizing these cities, that are dealing these drugs, that are trafficking weapons, that are engaging in organized theft, armed robbery, carjacking, all of them are doing business with, at some level or another, the transnational narco-trafficking organizations. So these street crews are engaged in material support for terrorism, which is the core function of the federal government to defend and protect.
Well,
Stephen Miller is the perfect embodiment of a certain strain of right-wing ideology, one that tries to be both the voice of strength and the voice of victimhood at the same time. He wants you to believe he's being silenced and attacked by the left, forced to fight back to defend his way of life, while also insisting that Donald Trump won the most overwhelming cultural mandate we've ever seen. Of course, both can't be true, and the contradiction says everything. At its core, this is a politics of grievance and entitlement. It thrives on claiming victim status while trying to impose its views on everyone else. And the reality is, it's not a majority movement. These ideas represent a smaller but very loud group, not the broader American public. That's why satire and pushback matter. This style of politics is built on pettiness and contradiction, and sometimes the best way to deal with it is to call it out directly. And let's be honest, Gavin Newsom has been doing that masterfully. He not only dismantles Miller's talking points, but also highlights how this agenda has never been about representing the whole country, only about consolidating power for a select few. And in this latest exchange, Newsom once again called it out for what it really is.
as you mentioned, this is not like you're directly responding to Texas, which is under their current version of the maps trying to pick up 5 seats. But Ohio's moving forward, Indiana's moving forward, Missouri's moving forward, Ron DeSantis is making noise. Have you talked to your fellow blue state governors about whether they can do similar things, whether it's New York or Illinois or Maryland? Do you know where that stands?
Yeah, we've got to move. I mean, look, I really applaud. I admire what JB did in hosting the Texas delegation. Obviously, Kathy Hochul as well. I really appreciate what they're saying on this topic. And it's been wonderful. And of course, we're so proud of what Texas delegation did because they put a lot of wind in the sails of what we're doing. They raised so much awareness. And by the way, Dan, I don't think that. I know that. We've seen it numerically with polls we did just a few weeks ago. And people not even understanding what redistricting is or what it isn't, and now how overwhelming it is, universal almost, how people now understand what's at stake. But now it's time to put a stake in the ground. It's not just about rhetoric. It's about moving that rhetoric to a different reality, and it's about doing whatever we can, not just in those 2 states, but in other states all across this country. I know Maryland's talking potentially about something in January. I know that Kathy in New York has something not totally dissimilar to what we have in California. There's a version of that in Michigan. But look, at the end of the day, there is no do-over here, man. There's no do-over. If we fall short, if we see this guy roll up and go to all those other states, just like J.D. Vance rolled up into Indiana just a week ago, I mean, we could lose this thing. It's not an exaggeration. It is not. This guy's rewriting history. This guy is censoring historical facts. This guy is taking down independent thought, independent media, journalists, the rule of law, and lawyers. I mean, this is it, guys. And so I pray that people dial things up in other states, not just here in the state of California.
Once again, Governor Newsom is showing the kind of fight that's needed right now. Not just symbolic gestures, not just press conferences, but real action. Because at the end of the day, words only go so far. What matters most is getting things done. And we're seeing progress from a number of leaders. Governor Pritzker stepping up and making strong statements. Governor Wes Moore talking about the future of fair representation. And even Governor Hochul moving in the right direction. That's the kind of leadership and action people want to see. And it's what earns real support. And speaking of support, if you believe in amplifying these conversations, the best way you can help this channel is by hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like on this video, and if you made it all the way to the end, leave a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I will see you soon.